We'll start in just about a minute. Just want to give everyone a chance to log in. So we'll be starting just shortly. Okay, well, as people are still logging in, the time is 9:02, so we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year for many of our attendees. Since for many of us, this is our first time getting a chance to interact with you this year. So welcome to our Community College Counselor Update meeting today, February 15th, 2022. So just want to share our agenda for today. So we're going to have a couple, some brief introductions in terms of our panelists who are joining us, as well as sharing the staff of the Transfer Center. We'll first have some information regarding the transfer admission update. So just a few things so that you can be aware of as far as some activities that we have coming up. And then we'll have our presentation from our College of Engineering and Polymer Science. And we will have time for questions and answers as well. Thank you for those who were able to supply some questions in advance, so we will make sure to answer those. But please be sure to go into the chat or Q&A to share any other additional questions that you may have, since we will be monitoring that. So just really briefly, want to make sure that you're aware of who our Transfer Center staff is. Of course, we have Helen Daca, who's joining us this morning, Olivia Rattle, who's also a transfer counselor. Oh, Helen, I also want to say, is our Assistant Director of Admissions here with the Transfer and Adult Student Enrollment Center, and works very closely with Stark State. So I'm sure many of our Stark State counselors are familiar with her. Olivia Rattle, who works very closely with Lakeland and Lorraine County Community College. She's actually traveling today. And then myself, Kimberly Snowden, and then we also have Greg Landis as well. I'm the Senior Assistant Director, and then Greg Landis is our Associate Director with Admissions. As you see, we've had a couple of staffing changes. Right now, I know we had a point person for Cuyahoga Community College. At this point, myself will be filling in, and then we also have Olivia, who's helping with some of the visits as well to Cuyahoga Community College this fall. And then we do have a few people from our College of Engineering and Polymer Science. If you want to introduce yourselves now, that's fine, or we can wait to your presentation, whichever is easiest for you. So not a problem. All right. So just want to share some updates for you as well. So as you know, this is our prime time for students preparing for the fall as well as the summer term. So one of the things we want to make sure people are aware of is that we are currently waiving the application fee. So students who apply for the summer or fall terms do not have to pay our $50 application fee. So just want to make sure that people are aware of that. We do also have assistance, basically a scholarship available of students who have been admitted to the University of Akron, and there is a confirmation fee, but we do have a scholarship available if students do find that they need assistance regarding that information. In addition to that, want to make sure that you are aware of when our semesters begin. So in case if you are working with a student who's looking to start with us for the summer term, that will begin actually on May 16th. So they'll definitely want to get all their information in as soon as possible. For the fall semester, semester, we are beginning August 22nd. So definitely plenty of time, but we do encourage students to get their information in sooner than later, so that way they can have the best choices for classes, be able to get through orientation, and make sure everything's in place for the upcoming fall semester. And as you can see, the required credentials for transferring as far as the admissions process are still the same. We do ask that students, if they do not have an associate's degree, to submit their official high school transcript or GED scorecard with their completion date. So we do have some changes regarding our transfer scholarships. The biggest one that maybe some of you have been made aware of is our Provost Scholarship for transfer students. Just to clarify an item regarding that, it is actually for the starting with the fall 2022 semester into the 2022-23 academic year. So the biggest change with this compared to our Akron Guarantee Scholarship is this is open to any transfer student with a 2.5 GPA or higher, and it is renewable for each year. The amount does range from $1,000 to $2,500. We have actually started awarding students who have been accepted for the fall semester to scholarship, so we are encouraging students to, again, apply as soon as possible. Students are automatically considered for this scholarship, so it's a great opportunity for them to receive additional financial assistance for attending the University of Akron. Of course, we do want to encourage students. We have our Provost Scholarship, but we have a large number of scholarships, particularly private and adult scholarships through our individual colleges, as well as specific majors that we encourage students to apply for as well. And actually, our College of Engineering and Polymer Science does have quite a few scholarships available to students. So please make sure to direct them to uakron.edu/scholarships. And you can click on the private and endowed link to see all of those scholarships offered by our different colleges and academic departments. But we do have a variety of additional scholarships available for students as well. We also have a couple of opportunities for students to connect with the University of Akron. We have some opportunities virtually. So we do have our Transfer Tuesdays. They are held on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month through May. So they are at 2 p.m. They're only about a half hour, but we have great information that's available. If you do have students who are interested in participating, please direct them to our transfer@uakron.edu. So that way we can get them registered. We do have a registration link available just so that they can get the link and be able to participate in the Transfer Tuesday. So please be sure to refer students to our email. In addition, if you have students who want to come to campus, we actually have our A2Zips visit days coming up. So in case for those colleges that are closed on President's Day, great opportunity to encourage your students to come on February 21st to our A2Zips visit day. We will have information available about the enrollment process. A academic and student services fair will be available during that day. With the enrollment process, we do have people from financial aid, of course, the Office of Admissions, even our orientation office to help make sure that students are on track with what they need to continue on at the University of Akron. If February 21st is not a good time for you, please encourage your students to consider March 11th as well. So same information that will be at the event on the 21st will be presented on March 11th. And the event for both days will be from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. So great opportunity for your students to connect with us in person, especially if they are considering attending UA in person. Get an opportunity to see things on campus. There will be campus tours available as well for both of those items. So students can register for the event at uakron.edu. Do want to share, highlight one of our campus resources that we do have available, which is our Williams Honors College. And they are definitely one of our transfer-friendly departments as well, encouraging students who are interested in an honors program to consider being part of the Williams Honors College. As you can see with the requirements for the Williams Honors College, they do have a 3.6 composite GPA. They do like it if a student has earned up to 64 credits to be able to be part of their program, which still allows them to still have certain key classes that are tied to the honors program as well. The nice piece is they also have a $2,000 renewable scholarship. They do allow for priority registration for their students, and they also have their own common room and computer lab that students can participate in. If you have a student who is interested in living on campus, they even have their own honors dorm, so there is an opportunity there in case you are working with a student who's looking for the opportunity to live on campus. We are asking that students try to apply by April 1st, which is their priority application deadline, but they will work with students if they apply after that date. And this is for students who are planning on starting with the fall 2022 semester. So again, if you have students who are interested in Williams College, please be sure to connect them through us, or you can also go directly through their program. They are definitely interested in working more with community college students. I know they are actually working more closely with Stark State. So if any of our Stark State counselors are on the line, be sure to keep an eye out for any information from our Williams College. If your college has an honors program or maybe work with students from PTK, they will also be interested in making sure that your students are aware of what they have. So please reach out to us and we can help get you connected to them to learn more information. So now we're going to turn the floor over to our College of Engineering and Polymer Science. They will go ahead and introduce themselves and share some great information that can be helpful for your students and be able to hopefully encourage them to continue their academic careers at the University of Akron. So we're going to switch over and let our guests go ahead and share their presentation.
All right. Perfect. Let me get that shared. All right, can everybody see my screen? Yes.
Yes, you're good.
Perfect. So luckily I have Sarah here with me. Well, might as well first do introductions. My name is Jordan Berlin. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment for the College of Engineering and Polymer Science. So I cover any general questions related to the majors within the college. And then Sarah, would you like to go ahead?
Sure. I'm Sarah Hogue, Director of Advising Services in the College of Engineering and Polymer Science.
So luckily we can kind of give you some information just about the general majors as well as about students that are looking to transfer, just because we know that sometimes they just take a little extra when it comes to figuring out, oh, well, what's going to transfer? What's the best program that they could lead into? And so that's our help here, is that we're just going to be a resource for any of you that just have questions, or if your students have questions. I always say that you know your students better than probably anybody. They come and see you probably a little extra, but that's one of the nice things, is that we can kind of assist you in that process of figuring out, well, how do we help the student the most, especially with what they're looking to do, regardless if it's engineering technology, or computing programs. So luckily we kind of have quite a few options. And for us, you are going to see some fun facts maybe for students later on you can kind of pull from, especially if students are saying, I really like this major, but why? Like, why do you like that? Oh, I don't know. Like, this is a great way to kind of figure out what could be a really good fit for them if they're still trying to figure it out, or if they already know, you can kind of give them some background information and say, hey, great, awesome. This is exactly how it fits in. This is exactly how it's going to work. So there are plenty of different options for students, just depending on if they have taken their general requirements at your college and now they're looking for something a little bit further, or if they already have the mindset of going maybe into a master's or a PhD program. You do have your computer information systems program. So this is a very hands-on one, and you will see there are a few programs that are a bit more friendly with transfer credit, and this is going to be one of them. So if a student has an interest in cybersecurity, which is a growing field right now, if they have an interest in either programming or networking as well, a lot of those Cisco courses that we're kind of thinking about, this is one of those areas that it really gets into. Computer science for students who just love to be behind a computer working with their hands. This is one of those areas that students could fall into. So especially with computer science, students love to think about like maybe application development. We do also have a course in game design and development. So if students have an interest in going towards that side of the industry, they absolutely have that potential. It just depends on kind of where they fit in and what they're really interested in. I always tell these students that one of them is going to create the next TikTok for this generation. So I'm always excited about what they come up with. You have computer engineering as well. So this kind of fits in with all of that computing that we always talk about. When it comes to computer engineering, they're really at the forefront of kind of that industry. So if a student wants to combine computer science with engineering, this is that key piece where you will see a great number of students going into. So for each of the ones we've kind of already talked about, there are differences, but a lot of similarities between these three. So if a student kind of is thinking, well, I want to go to computing, but I'm really not sure of exactly the type of field or exactly the type of industry, just talk with us, connect with us. We can at least, or if you already have a good idea about what a student's really interested in, like, I want to do software development, or I want to make games, then we can at least direct them in the places that they should probably be looking, especially for that job outlook, just to make sure that they're connected and that they have a good idea. You have career goals. So if I kind of always talk about, if a student has an idea of where they want to work in the future, look at the jobs that they're kind of looking for and hiring for, and you can kind of backtrack a little bit. And then you obviously have your typical careers. And then when it comes to transfer credit, that's why Sarah is your point of contact for this, just because she's going to be able to connect with you relatively early to start talking about, okay, if a student's thinking about coming to the University of Akron, what's it going to look like? What might be the easiest path? What's going to be a little bit more challenging? And so you can at least work with them and work with Sarah just to kind of help the student out the best you can. You have construction engineering technology. The engineering technology does have a little bit of an easier time with transfer credit as well. So if you notice that students like to be a little bit more hands-on with their academic learning, as opposed to maybe doing calculations and designs, engineering technology could be a really great place for them. Great outlook with this industry as well. And construction engineering technology, anytime you really see construction sites going on, there's probably someone on that job site that has this job set that's basically just making sure everything's running smoothly and effectively. You have surveying and mapping. I think we all have seen these people constantly, but there's so much more you can really do with it. Now they're getting into more of drone surveying. They work for the State Highway Patrol or even everything across the country where they can basically reenact different types of situations. So this is a growing one, especially for this area. You have civil engineering for students that are kind of hesitant about, well, I don't want to do the same thing every day, same way. So with this one, what ends up happening is that students don't have to do the same thing necessarily every single day. So one day they could be out in the field, the next day they're in their office working. So if someone just likes a little bit of flow in their life, civil engineering could be a good fit for them. And luckily with how our program is set up, because in Ohio, you do have to have your professional surveyor's license, that's already included in the civil engineering program. So we're basically trying to do two birds, one stone. You have mechanical engineering technology, and automated manufacturing engineering technology. So for students who are interested in maybe robotics, or they're thinking about cars or maybe planes, this could be a great fit for them. It's a very broad degree so that you can do a lot of different industries with it. But you can also have the potential to focus on one specific area, especially in your upper division electives. You have electrical engineering and electrical engineering technology. So with this, you can kind of think about those people that are making things work. Anything that's related to power basically is behind why an electrical engineer does what they do. So especially that phone charger we constantly have on us, even our laptops that are constantly in use, any type of power system, that's what electrical engineering falls into. And when I was talking about engineering and engineering technology, there is a lot of overlap between the two. And I think some students might not necessarily recognize it. And so, especially if you have an idea of a student who likes to be a bit more hands-on, that kind of likes maybe to be the middle person between the engineer who's kind of designing everything and the technicians on the floor, this could be that great piece because they basically just say, hey, this design is awesome. Let's go ahead and make it work. Or, we need to go back to the drawing board because this might need some updating. So especially for students who like a little bit more hands-on, they're a little bit more application based, this is where I recommend a lot of students go to. So that's the question students are going to be asking is, should I go towards engineering or engineering technology? Both are great career options. Both have a lot of potential with them. And so it just depends on if a student would like to be more of a design development, so for engineering, or they'd rather just implement. You have both options available, and luckily they're both here in the college. So especially if a student's like, nope, going into engineering, great, awesome, let's get you there. And then they decide, I'd rather be a little bit more hands-on. Luckily, it's a great, easy step to go over to that. Classes are a little bit different. So especially for engineering, you're going to see a little bit more calculus-based math that way. But on the other side is, especially for engineering technology, they're doing more of applied calculus. So it's very similar, but it's just more of a focused. And then obviously your hands-on learning opportunities for both, regardless if it's with design teams, organizations, or if it's in the lab setting. Aerospace systems engineering, this is basically a little bit more specialized for mechanical engineering. It's all based on not only combining aerospace, but also combining some of business ethics and cost analysis portion, just because a lot of times these students know that they want to go into the aero industry, but they also want to have some management classes behind them just in case they want to run projects or get organized or eventually be a manager. You have biomedical engineering. So for students who maybe want to change the world, they want to work on new technology. I think especially right now with ventilators becoming such a big thing, that was a focus, especially for biomedical engineering. And there's a lot of science behind it. So if students like to combine biology, maybe healthcare, and just assisting people, this could be one of those options. Chemical engineering, these are in almost every single industry, whereas if it's the food, hygiene products, you're thinking even Food and Drug Administration, medicine. This is one of a very broad, different program that every single industry kind of needs. So if a student's looking for diversity that wants to be able to have a lot of options for career-wise, this could be a great fit. You also have corrosion engineering tech. I think here in Ohio, we kind of know that there's rust kind of all over the place, but with corrosion engineering, they're trying to prevent that. They're trying to stop it, or at least determine how long it's going to take before we need to fix something or correct something. So think about those coatings that really protect things. Corrosion engineering is a very broad degree, and luckily we're the only one here in Ohio, I mean, in the nation that has the bachelor's degree. So they're a little bit selective. We can have you here and make sure everything works out well. And if a student is kind of unsure about what type of engineering and they're just saying material engineering is kind of the thing I'm thinking of, I want to work with that, you could decide you want to do biomedical, chemical, or corrosion engineering. And we do currently have that minor in polymer science, polymer engineering. So students can kind of tack that on just to have a little bit more material focused kind of degree program. So especially for us, we like to focus on not just like your classroom learning, but all that experimental learning you can do outside of the classroom. So especially for students who like to be as hands-on as possible, but still learning about that engineering side, there's a lot of opportunities for students to really get involved and feel connected to not only the college, but their majors and the community as a whole. So in class, you are working on design projects as an individual, but as group projects, you have outside, such as your student design teams and student organizations. I know sometimes, especially with transfer students, they can feel a little disconnected, but there's a lot of opportunities for them to be involved and feel like, hey, I'm a part of this university, I'm a part of this college, and I want to be involved, and I want to have someone I can relate to or someone I can take classes with. And then in industry, you have those internships and cooperative education experiences. So especially with that, that's all hands-on learning for students to basically go out into the industry and figure out if they like what they're going to be doing, figure out if they like the job, or even if they like the organization that they're going to be working for. It's basically an easy way to get almost like a job shadowing that's paid. So it kind of works out a little bit easier. So when we talk about co-op, this is basically that paid industry experience that students can get. So you're going to be working right alongside engineers. You're going to be able to take on that experience about learning what the job actually entails. And it's a great way to figure out, do I like this organization? Is it going to provide me with enough support? Or do I want to try somewhere else and just see? So students can really figure out if it's a great fit for them or if they would like to try a different company and organization. These are just some of the companies. I can't, if I said them all, you probably get tired of my voice, I promise. And so if a student has an interest in a specific company or specific organization, they can come and talk to us. We have our co-op and placement office right down the hall. And so the students can really get a hands-on approach to learning, well, what do I need to be able to work for one of these companies? They'll work with your resume building, cover letters, interview skills, interview questions, what to wear, what not to wear. That's what they're there for, to provide for the students in this college with just that extra helping hand, especially when it comes to finding a job and full-time placement. For students who do decide to do the co-op route, during that time, you can potentially, most of the time, students do at least one rotation of either an internship or co-op. So a lot of times you have that opportunity to get a little bit more advancement in your career as full-time placement. So take on that approach. So instead of being maybe entering at an entry level, you're kind of able to take a step further. So the dive teams, they are a very wide variety. You could do something more competitive based where you're trying to compete against other people, or you could do it as more community service based where you're just trying to help the community. It just depends on how competitive students can be, but you'll probably know ahead of time if students would be interested in either or, and I would be glad to help them get connected with any of the groups. As you can see, this is a canoe, but it's actually made up of 100% concrete. So students are able to kind of learn about, from more of maybe civil engineering and construction engineering side, about buoyancies, about densities, especially when it comes to that kind of field. And then you also have professional development. So if students are looking for something additional to kind of add to their resume to basically build their skills and knowledge, this could, one of these or even multiple of these groups could be options for students. I always say get them started with just one and then see how it goes, because some students might jump into 12 and they might just be too busy. So we want to make sure their grades are the #1 priority no matter what. So along the way, you did learn a few different facts, especially about us. But the main thing I always like to take away from this is that you have resources, especially who are within the college. We want to be able to assist you with whatever you need, regardless if it's transfer questions, especially with Sarah being your point of contact. Just connect with us, talk with us. We'll either show you around campus, we'll talk with you about your transcripts, the students' transcripts, or if any questions you have. And then we like to keep that strong basis. So when we talk about these connections that we have, we're just resources. We're into any questions you might have, just to make sure that you and your students feel comfortable and confident and that they're making the right choices. And so here is both of our email addresses. So Sarah will be your main point of contact when it comes to transfer credits, when it comes to curriculum guides. And then I can be your point of contact if you would just like to visit, or reach out to Sarah, say, hey, I want to come visit, and then you'll get in contact with me. It works out really well. So luckily, that's the last of our presentation. And I believe, Kim, we're moving into Q&A.
So I apologize, trying to make sure we don't run into any technical issues. So, okay, so now we can get back to the Q&A item. Feel free to add items into the chat at this time. So yes, we are monitoring that, but yes, please share any questions that you do have. There were 2 questions that were shared with us prior to the event, so we will go ahead and at least address those. One of the questions was, are there pathways for the engineering degrees? And Sarah and Jordan, feel free to also jump in with more details. The answer is yes, we do have some specific transfer guides, specifically also with Stark State, that can actually show students what classes that they're taking at the community colleges that will be able to transfer and be applicable towards their degree. I know with Stark State, we specifically have civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering transfer guides available. So as an advisor or counselor, you can use that information to help advise students to help make sure that they're on the right track. Of course, if you're from a community college where we don't have a partnership with as far as a specific transfer pathway for engineering, please let us know if you're interested in that to help start that conversation so we can make the transfer pathway and the transition for your students much easier. Again, Sarah, Jordan, and also Dr. Julie Zhao, if you have anything else you want to add towards that.
Feel good.
All right, great. The second question that we had, and I'm assuming the question is more of, do we have a transfer center, or if we have a transfer center at Akron? So what I can explain is the services of our transfer and adult student enrollment center. So our office, we do visit our community college partners, as well as we do visit different transfer fairs throughout the state and region. So we will share general information in terms of how to transfer to the University of Akron. We do provide opportunities for students to also meet with us, whether meet with us in person or meet with us virtually, which could mean either by Zoom or by telephone as well, just to go over programs that they may be interested in, seeing how credits could transfer. So we do provide unofficial credit evaluations in terms of how credits can transfer in to the University of Akron. We also do help connect students to specific departments as well if there's any detailed questions students do have. So again, if there's questions regarding engineering, we would work with our College of Engineering and Polymer Science to help get those questions answered, have the opportunity for you to connect, visit their college, get to know the programs in more detail. So we do help make sure students are connected that way. Our office does also provide tours, one-on-one tours, so you can schedule that directly through our office if you do want to visit. If you decide you want to bring a group to visit us, please let us know as well, and we can work on making arrangements for that piece. So hopefully that helped answer the question, but if there were some more details regarding that, please go ahead and share additional information that you were hoping to get addressed. And looks like we do have a couple of questions that have come in. Well, looks like there's some interest in some STEM pathways, so that's great to hear. Again, please let us know if you're interested in building opportunities of a transfer pathway for your students. Be sure to reach out to us. And again, our departments are definitely interested in working with you to make that transfer pathway a reality for your students to help with the transition. Any other questions that may be coming up? And I'll echo again what Helen shared in the chat. If you want a UA pennant or poster for your office, please let us know. We definitely want to make sure that you have UA represented on your campus. So please let us know. We'll get that information sent out to you. Any other final comments from our panelists? Since I know we'll be wrapping up a little bit early, but not a problem. Any other final comments from any of our panelists or any other final updates?
At least for Sarah and I, especially if you're just looking for a connection, even if it seems like a weird question, like just connect with us. I think we're extremely easy to get a hold of, regardless if it's questions just about general campus or if it's about transfer credits or even specific classwork and coursework. Just connect with us. We're just a resource to make it as easy as possible.
Thank you. So I know we're ending a little bit early, but I'm sure if you are meeting with students or have upcoming meetings, you probably don't mind that. But we do really appreciate your time for participating today. Again, we do have our Transfer Tuesdays, the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 2 p.m. And we have our upcoming A2ZEP visit days on February 21st and March 11th. So please reach out to us if you have students that are interested in attending. Our next community college counselor update meeting will be on Tuesday, April 12th, also at 9 a.m. We are changing it up just a little bit. We are going to have information actually about articulations and transfer pathways. So we're going to have representation from our academic affairs office regarding that information, possible information regarding how general education work at UA. But most importantly, we want to hear from you. So we are also going to include a roundtable so that way any questions, comments that you have, things that maybe you're hoping to see from UA, we can be able to learn from you in order to best help assist your students. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. We really appreciate your time this morning and have a wonderful day.